Well, hello and welcome to the Boho Bradshaws.
Hi.
We are coming at you from Truth or Consequences, New Mexico.
We actually we arrived here in the middle of the night. Well, not middle of the night, but it was dark. And we woke up to this beautiful scene.
You're going to have to wait a little bit, though. We'll show some of this area off in our next video. But in this video, we wanted to talk a little bit about the Phoenix area, or just Arizona in general, which we spent the entire month of December in.
We are lucky enough to have family that live in Phoenix, so we decided to spend the holidays with my sister and her family. Ended up being really fun. We saw some really cool things.
Now, our typical schedule is we usually have a week worth of work and then we have Fridays off, and so we'll spend Fridays exploring. Sometimes we'll explore on Saturdays. So a lot of the things that we did were always on the weekend.
One of the things that I really loved was the Sedona area. We only went there for one day. Again, I think it was either a Friday or Saturday, and enjoyed a beautiful hike called Oak Creek, I believe.
Oak Creek.
And it was just beautiful.
Yeah, the thing about that particular hike was I think there were 17 creek crossings, and it was definitely a winter landscape. All of the trees had lost their leaves and there wasn't necessarily a lot of green, but
it was still good coverage though.
Yeah, the red rock and the shade and just the creek crossings.
It was a lot of fun.
It was. The vistas in Sedona are just beautiful. When I think of Arizona, quintessential Arizona, or just the desert, you can get that feeling, from the Sedona area, which was quite nice. One area that we missed that we kind of wish we would have tackled was past Sedona, a little mining town called Jerome. And
everybody tells us that we need to see that, and lo and behold, we didn't get a chance to go.
Yeah, so if you're in the area, don't overlook Jerome. Sedona is very touristy. Jerome, I think, is just overlooked, and you could still get that cool old ghost town, mining town vibe if you head over to Jerome.
Yeah, the next time we're there, I definitely want to go to Jerome. Something else that we did is we went all the way down near Tucson. They have some caves to explore down there. What was the cave?
Well, the cave that we visited was called the Colossal Cave. There's also Kartchner Caverns, which is also a national monument, or Kartchner Caverns National Monument. I don't know the Colossal Cave is probably a protected area as well, but
my sister has been to Kartchner Caverns and says it's awesome. Because of the weather, I think, is maybe partially what played into our decision to go to the other.
Yeah, it's maybe part of the weather, but also I read online that people have just as good of an experience inside of the Colossal Cavern, and it doesn't cost as much.
So cost played a little bit in it too. And it's always like a perfect 72 degrees in the cavern itself, in the caves itself. Mm-hmm. And so you think it was actually quite chilly that day that we went there, and so we were all kind of bundled up, and you get into the cave and it was quite warm, so we were like shedding layers. It was really cool though.
And they have a couple of options inside of the Colossal Cave. You can have just kind of like your everyday walk through, which takes about a little over an hour, and it's guided tour. But they also
our guide was really cool, by the way. He was very informative and funny, made lots of jokes. It was fun.
The other option is kind of like an adventure tour where you can go throughout 3 miles worth of tunnels, and you're jumping over ravines, and I think just from what I saw of people doing there while we were there, it could be dangerous. Yeah, so
but it looked awesome. Yeah. I think if our kids had been older, we may have thought about that. I think they have to be 16 and older in order to do that. We probably would have maybe taken our oldest had we only had him, but
So, of course, the Grand Canyon can't be overlooked at all if you're in the Arizona area. We did have an opportunity to visit the south rim of the Grand Canyon, and we hiked down the Bright Angel Trail, which is a pretty steep down and up trail.
Let me preface this by saying our daughter did not want to go on this hike. She didn't want to go see the Grand Canyon. She didn't want to go at all. She can be spunky sometimes. We kind of had to put our foot down and say, no, we're going to the Grand Canyon. It's the Grand Canyon. You have to come with us. So, and she did come, and we actually ended up having a lot of fun. It was pretty steep, like Denny said. Going down was a lot of fun, and then coming back up was kind of hard, I'll be honest. And you can look in
slow and steady.
Some previous video.
Slow and steady wins the race, Marty. Hang in there.
There were other circumstances that made it especially hard for me, but yeah, it was a difficult hike coming back up.
But it was a lot of fun, and definitely one of those things that if you're in the area, you absolutely have to check out. Just the grandeur of the Grand Canyon is...
It's spectacular. Yeah, it's beautiful.
It absolutely is.
So if you're just wanting a hike kind of midday, maybe after work's done, which was us, just to get your heart rate up a little bit and to kind of enjoy the area a little bit, we went to a place called...
I think it's called Piestewa or something like
Piestewa?
Yeah.
Piestewa Peak? I don't know.
It's in a protected area, kind of part of the park system of the Phoenix area. It's really right inside of the metropolitan area, and that peak itself is over 1,000 feet elevation gain in about a mile, so it's a pretty aggressive elevation gain.
Ellie and I decided not to go up the elevation gain. Ellie, again, was having a little bit of a day. Plus, I just was not in the mood to go on that aggressive of a hike. So Ellie and I decided to go on a different trail. And that's the nice thing about this area is it has a few different trails. And it was pretty. I mean, it was fun.
Yeah, and we went on a Wednesday thinking, okay, it's not going to be very crowded here. It was actually about 3:30 in the afternoon on a Wednesday, and we couldn't even really find a place to park, and there was a lot of people, so it's
keep it in mind,
popular,
I guess, yeah.
And, you know, maybe a lot of locals just use it to kind of get their heart rate going, you know, a workout at the end of the day, but it was a fun hike, and it gave you a good view of the city. Probably would be really pretty at night, you know, when the lights are coming on. You can see all of Phoenix. It's one of the tallest peaks kind of right there in the Phoenix area, so check it out if you're down there. One other place that we had the opportunity to visit was Montezuma's Castle, which are some ancient cave dwellings of some of the native population that was there.
Yeah, so it's a really short, I wouldn't even consider it a hike. It's like maybe a mile-long loop that you just get to see these caves from afar. You don't actually get to go in them, but it was really cool. It had a lot of history. It had a little bit of a museum so that you could learn some of the history. And we started the Junior Ranger program there with Ellie, so that was a lot of fun too.
I had another opportunity to visit some other caves here in New Mexico, and we'll share that in our next video. But yeah, Montezuma, they call it the Montezuma Castle just because it's kind of, it looks like a castle as it's kind of up there in the hill. And I think some of the white men who came into the area called it Montezuma's Castle after, because they assumed it was Aztecian in origin.
And Montezuma was an Aztec king, by the way.
That's right, yeah.
But that is incorrect. But regardless, Montezuma's Castle was really fun. It was a cool little place to check out for a day.
Yeah. One must have adventure, if you will, is the Apache Trail Road, which starts near Apache Junction on the east side of Phoenix and runs miles into the desert there towards the Roosevelt Dam.
Yeah, it runs through a little teeny tiny ghost town. Remember the name of that?
Tortilla Flat.
Tortilla Flats is teeny tiny. Literally, full-time residents, I think, is 6 year-round. But kind of cool. Stop and get some ice cream. And honestly, we wish we would have had started this adventure in the morning for Apache Trail. We started kind of in the afternoon, and it wasn't long enough. We wish we had had more time, and we wish we would have made it to Roosevelt Dam. We only made it about halfway to Roosevelt Dam, but it's beautiful out there.
Yeah, the road is paved for the first half, and then the second half is unpaved. And I'm sure it's good at certain times of the year after it's been graded. It was pretty washboardy, but any vehicle, it wasn't deep ruts or anything. Any vehicle, a car can make it. You just have to kind of slow and take your time. But I think that's the intent, is to take your time. It's like going to the Grand Canyon without all the tourists, almost. I mean, there's some, that's a little extreme.
It is.
But there's some pretty Grand Canyons in there.
And it has a lake and...
a lot of diversity.
Yeah, it just tons of different beautiful scenes. A couple of things that we wanted to do also but didn't get a chance to do. There is a meteor, what is it?
Yeah, just the meteor crater.
Meteor crater. The meteor crater we wanted to see, didn't get a chance to. So that's an option for anybody around that area. It's actually up closer to Flagstaff, just so that you're aware, but that is one thing we wanted to do.
We also kind of wanted to see the Minutemen Titan Missile Museum, which is an old nuclear missile silo that has been decommissioned, but there's some interesting history there, and learn about kind of what it takes to be one of those guys with your finger on the button had that phone call ever came in. And it was active during the Cold War. So, and I believe there's still actually a missile in the tube, obviously without the warhead.
We've heard it's really cool. That, I believe, is down near Tucson as well. So if you're in the Tucson area, that's another thing to check out.
One disclaimer for really any of these areas that we're talking about and visiting is that we are a very outdoorsy type of family. And these areas that we talk about, I'm sure there are museums and other things, and we would absolutely encourage you to check some of those out. And in fact, we look for those, but often when we have weather concerns or other things that kind of bring us indoors, we try to spend a lot of our time outdoors, and thus all of these areas that we're visiting are very outdoorsy in nature.
When it's cold, we do go to the movies. One thing that I think I wanted to mention in this video is, as grateful as we are to be able to do this adventure and live this life and have this trailer that we live in and travel across the country and go wherever we want, we love it. But we do want you to know that life is still real for us. There is still stuff that comes up in our lives that suck. And over the holidays we did have one of those things. We had a dear friend in Boise pass away. She was a neighbor and a friend to us, and we were not able to be there to say goodbye. So that was really, really difficult. So as much as we love this life, there is still crap. There is still stuff. And life is still real. A lot of times you see the good things that we go through. There is stuff behind the scenes, and we just wanted to acknowledge that and recognize it. And just to recognize it on screen.
Well, thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel, we'd love for you to subscribe and to hang out with us as we continue our journey east. We mentioned we were in New Mexico. We're headed towards Texas and Louisiana, and the journey continues 2018. So we'd love to have you along for the ride. Hit that subscribe button and join us each week as we kind of share our life on the road.
If you're going to be in an area where we're heading to, let us know. We'd love to meet you. We'd love to chat. We'd love to, meet up. So let us know.
One other shout out also for our website, which is adventurespark.com, ADVSPARK, or adventureinspired.com, ADVINSPIRED.com. Anyway, our homepage is just a map of where we've been and kind of where we're currently exploring. We also have links there to our Instagram account and our blog, so please check it out and follow along. Thanks so much for watching.
Thank you. See you on the road. Go see The Greatest Showman. It was awesome.
There's no way I'm going to put that in there.
Why? Maybe Hugh Jackman will, follow us.
All right, see you later.